So this is a typical campaign structure that we run on Facebook ads. It's a 3x3 configuration, which means 3 audiences times 3 ads, a total of 9 combinations. And each of this is an ad set, which is a proper term in Facebook ads. Then you may be wondering, why is it 3 ad sets and not 5 and not 8 ad sets? Isn't it the more the better? You cover more grounds and you have a higher chance of success. Well, 3 is a sweet spot for 2 main reasons. Firstly, the population size in Singapore. It is not huge as compared to, say, US where Facebook comes from. So if you do 5 or you do 8 ad sets, there is a high risk of audience overlap, which means your ad set A may be competing with ad set B, which means there's cannibalization and wastage of your budget. And don't forget, each of these audience size has to be at least 30,000 for it to be effective. In fact, Facebook's recommendation is at least 50,000 to 100,000 for it to be effective. Second reason is that Facebook advocates account simplification. In the past, we used to run 5 to 8 ad sets in each campaign because we need to test a lot more variables. One being the placement. Placement is Facebook newsfeed, Instagram, Facebook stories, site column, all these are placements. Nowadays, everything is consolidated because the machine learning aspect of Facebook has gotten smarter over the years. That's why you don't need to test so many variables right now, and we can keep the account structure much more simplified. On top of that, Facebook machine learning takes place at ad set level. It's not at campaign level, it's not at account level, it's within the ad set. So it's much better to consolidate your data within the ad set rather than having a lot of ad sets whereby the learning will be scattered across many ad sets and it won't be effective. On the other hand, if your ad budget is too low, let's say only 2K a month, we may test 2 audiences times 3 ads or 3 audiences times 2 ads, which means 6 combinations rather than 9 combinations. This 9 combination is more suitable for ad budget level of say 3K to 10K per month. And then when we zoom in to each of these ads, each one of these ads really need to have 3 components: the hook, the call to action, and the build up. The purpose of the hook is to draw people's attention because a lot of people are just scrolling through Facebook. So the hook is the first few lines of the ad as well as the headline of the ad to get people to stop and to read the ad. And then the build up is the body of the ad to create desire for a product or solution that you're selling. And then the CTA or the call to action is to get people to click in to read the landing page. And a lot of advertisers, they test their 3 ads by just changing image or just changing headline, and they consider that as speed testing. In fact, that is only marginal speed testing. You only get marginal difference in your results. That's not significant enough. So that's the difference between what we call evolutionary versus revolutionary speed testing. Evolutionary is really just incremental or marginal. There's only slight differences. Whereas the ones that we do are revolutionary, which means that ad A, ad B, and ad C really have to be radically different so that you can yield significantly different results. So for example, ad A could be a fear-driven ad, then ad B could be a pleasure-driven, and ad C could be totally different, like a logical-based ad. So your 3 ads in each ad set, in other words, it varies in terms of awareness level, the appeal, whether it's emotional or logical, as well as the benefit. And then you use the 3 ads ABC, ABC, ABC across the 3 ad sets to make sure that your speed testing is consistent across the 3 audiences. These 3 are what we call the co-audiences, which is what we have and work with at the start of the campaign. Once you have run the campaign long enough, you have people who have interacted with ad A, ad B, ad C, and so on. Therefore, you can create warm audiences. Those are people that either like your post or people that click on each of these ads to your landing page, and then we drop a cookie on their browser. This is where we create warm audiences for retargeting. And retargeting is much more effective because those are audiences that have seen your ads before. Of course, the audience size has to be significant enough. Let's say at least 1,000 before we can start doing warm targeting. The prerequisite for this entire campaign structure is that you need to have a pixel installed. Without the pixel, you cannot track clicks, you cannot track conversions, and all this will be useless. So the pixel must be installed in the first place. And the more data you collected of people that clicked, of people that converted, as you can see, you create warm audience and even lookalike audience. The targeting will be more and more accurate, which is why the campaign tends to work better after the initial speed testing phase. Not to mention that once we find out that the audiences tend to respond better to, let's say, ad A, Then we create more of ad A, which is evolutionary testing, which is incremental testing, not revolutionary testing. We create more of this type of ad, and then we can get better and better results from the campaign. Because we are a Facebook partner agency whereby we have monthly catch-ups with the Facebook team, we are aware of the best practices in Facebook. Of course, not everything that they say apply to our context. That's why we need to do split testing ourselves as well. We have used our own money to test many different various types of campaign structures, and we found that this one works the best to maximize your ad budget. It looks simple, but sometimes less is more.